Well, hey everybody, welcome back. Hey, the wind's died down a little bit finally, and the sun's come out. It's just beautiful. We have a few fungus for you. We have a few plants for you, and we might have actually figured out who has been bringing eggs into our forest. So come for a walk with us, see what we can see. A little junco, letting me know that I'm near his nest. Yeah. And we got hummers around here, juncos, there's a robin off in the distance here. Wow, just absolutely love being out in the forest. Oh, here's another one of those little Candoleomyces, Candolianus. You can see all the velar material left around the ring. We highlighted these guys in the last video, so I'm not going to get into them. Not classified as edible here because they can get confused with other ones that are actually toxic to us and whatnot. But they've been eating a variety of these guys over in Iraq for a long time, and they've been using it for medicinal purposes as well. And here's one that's a little bit older. You can see the difference between the younger cap and this older one. Kind of starting to go whitish there, and you can still see the velar material around the margin of the cap there as well. So yeah, pretty amazing that they've been eating these in Iraq, for, or at least their variety, for a long time. Cool. So you know, just a couple of days ago we had a really bad windstorm, and you can see this guy just snapped off because I've had some brown rot decayers doing some real work on the inside of this guy. Yeah, just like completely, just totally toast. But the outside looked perfect, you know, and that's the problem, is over here, here's the other half of it. Like, it was green all the way up. And of course here's some maple branches that it took down as well. But yeah, the branches and everything, like, it's still alive up top, but dead at the bottom, like right over there behind Little. So just be careful when you're out here, especially in the windstorms, because even though a tree looks solid, it may have some very rotted spots like this one here. And it's only at the base, because here's the other chunk of it, and you can see that it's still quite solid. But yeah, so be careful. So we're down in the riparian zone, and we're going to talk about this guy here. This is the broadleaf bulrush, or broadleaf cattail. You can tell by this big sausage on top here. This is where all the seeds are inside of this carapace. I apologize for the wind. I'm down in the riparian zone at the edge of the lake, and I cannot help the wind. So this is Typha latifolia, the broadleaf cattail or broadleaf bulrush. There is a narrowleaf bulrush or narrowleaf cattail as well called Typha augustifolia, and they have a little bit different morphology here. The flower head is and normally has a gap between that and the seed head here. This is a sausage here, and that's one of the big things. And also, they don't get as tall. These guys can get up to like 7 feet tall, and their leaves are narrower, but they have all the same attributes to them. All right, well, let's get ourselves set up here, and we're going to talk about this guy from the top all the way down to the bottom, because everything about this plant is usable. So just excellent. So the flower, which is the top of this guy here, when it's younger, it's green, and you can take those guys, they'll still have kind of a sheath over top of this guy when it's green, and you can pop that off, and you can take those little kind of corn cobby guys, and you can utilize those, and you can make them into lots of stuff. I mean, I made a beautiful bread out of them, like a loaf, and I used the actual pollen from a little bit older ones from those guys, and this, before this head goes to flower like this, it's releasing all its pollen, and you can take the pollen and you can use that as an alternative for like cornmeal and other things like that. Now, if you go back to one of our videos of Totally Wild Food, we made a beautiful loaf there. It was awesome. It was so good. Mind you, the Oso berry jelly I tried to make did not set. And one of our totally amazing subscribers mentioned that you could use it as a syrup on pancakes, which I did the following day, and it was delicious. But on the bread, I ended up putting a bit of honey on it. Oh my goodness, it was so good. Yeah, Just awesome. So yeah, these the young flowers, the heads of these guys, when they're younger, when they're still green, you can eat them like a cob on the corn on the cob. And the great thing is they're good for medicinal problems, like if you got diarrhea or you got gastrointestinal upset. You can take those for that. And when you take the all the flowers off of this guy, you're going to see, I'll just strip this guy down here. All it's going to have is this spike. And when these guys are finished, you're going to see the big sausage and then this empty spike sitting on top of it. These guys here, these big sausages, they contain all the seeds. And those are seeds that ride on the wind and they just fly away. They're all inside of this carapace here, and it keeps the seeds protected until it's time for them to vacate and float away. And I've got one here that is last year's, and you can see all the fluffies inside. And even when they're spent like this, they're still very, very dry on the inside. And these are awesome for bushcraft fires. They take a spark of a ferro rod really well, and it's just very, very great. It's a quick flash, so you've got to have other fuels and whatnot there ready to throw on top, or have it all ready to go. Now you can use these seeds as a dressing for wounds. You know, you can wrap them up, and they've got antiseptic qualities and antimicrobial qualities, so they're just really, really got awesome benefits to them. But yeah, definitely the best fire starter I've ever used. So yeah, and they're very hydrophobic, so the water just kind of beads off of them, kind of, if you know what I'm saying. Also, if you're out hiking and you have very, very sore feet, and these guys are ready to burst, you can actually take these guys and take all the fluff out of them, stick them in your shoes, and you've got a little extra layer of cushioning. Yeah, so again, many, many uses to these guys. All right, well, let's go to the leaves. Now, these guys here. These guys have so much stuff in them. They've got thiamine, they've got phosphates, they've got potassium, they've got vitamin C. They're antimicrobial and antiseptic, like the seed pods and whatnot. Now, you can use these guys for weaving, and green or dry, and they've been used in many, many different cultures for different weaving. And in fact, there's a town in the Philippines, and believe it or not, it's called San Francisco is the name of this town. And in San Francisco, they celebrate the abundance of this plant, and they call this plant sori-sori. And so they have a big sori-sori festival, and it's one day a year, every year. And they weave all kinds of stuff, and they sell them and trade them, and they make hats, and they make bags, and they make mats, and they make all kinds of things. So yeah, it was because they're very abundant throughout Asia and Europe and North America, and so they celebrate this plant in its abundance. So that's really, really cool. And in Greece, they actually use the leaves for old traditional chair making, and they'd make the seats out of these woven leaves. So they dry them for 50 days approximately, and then the traditional chair makers and furniture makers would use these for the bottoms. Just awesome. Yeah, and that's in Greece, by the way. Now when you get down to the base, I'm going to pull one up here. Yeah. So where the leaves all converge down at the base here, you can take these and strip them off and get them down a little narrower, and once you get down here, you can literally squeeze a sap out of these guys, and this sap that's all through it is also antimicrobial and antiseptic. So it's very good for wounds. Don't put it on burns. You're not supposed to put any kind of gels or anything on burns and whatnot. But if you're down at the lake or any kind of waterway and you see bulrushes and you go, hey man, I forgot to bring my sunscreen, you can use this as a rudimentary kind of sunscreen. It will actually protect your skin a little bit, and it doesn't wash off in the water unless you rub it. But here's the thing, is like everything, you got to make sure that you're not allergic to it. So try it on a little spot of your skin and leave it for a good half an hour to see if you have any kind of reaction to it. All right, now you can keep going down on these guys and keep stripping them down until you get to these little flexible noodles. And it's very, very good for us. It's got all the nutrients that are in the rest of the plant, and you can use these like little linguine noodles. You can eat them raw, you can cook them, you can throw them in a salad, you can do whatever you like. They have kind of a flavor of, to me, it's kind of like cucumber. Yeah. It's very, very soft and tender, and yeah, they're quite nice. So you could use these as like a linguine base, and you can make a spaghetti sauce or something and put it on it, or you can just put them in a salad or something like that. That's fine too. Now, we want to get down to the rhizomes. We've already gone down to the base of these guys. Now, down at the base, here we go. All right, so now we're at the rhizome here. We've ripped one out of the ground here, and the rhizomes will grow horizontally under the mud, and they'll just proliferate like crazy. So this is the a chunk of a new rhizome here that's growing out. These guys are also edible. They're very starchy. You can cook them on a fire and then peel them and eat them. It's more of a survival food, but it will get you through if you need it. So yeah, even these little tiny rhizoids that are coming off of them, rhizines, whatever you want to call them, these guys are also edible as well. And these guys are full of the same nutrients that are in the rest of the plant. Now you can also dry it, grind it, and use it as a soup thickener, stew thickener. You know, there's lots of uses that you can get out of it because it is very, very starchy. Now the one thing about these guys is most plants in the riparian zone are water filters. So they will collect up any of the bad contaminants that are in the water, and they'll store it. So if you take one of these guys, strip it down, and get down to your little linguine noodle, and you take a bite, and if you go, oh, this is kind of bitter, or this is kind of acrid, don't eat it, okay? Because that means it has been collecting up some bad contaminants and probably heavy metals, and they can affect you very badly. So I don't know if you can see this kind of aloe-y kind of goo that's on here. This is the sap that comes out of them, and it's a protectant for them against insects and other things too. But it also works for humans as a protectant for us. Yeah, it's very, very aloe-like. Yeah, awesome. So that's about all I have on these guys for you today. Yeah, you can see that they're quite prolific through here. There's all these little sausage heads all coming up through the reeds and everything. But just amazing, amazing plant, and like I said, everything on this guy is usable. And right below this guy, actually, we have another water plant here. We've got the yellow water lily, and this is Snufarlutea polysepala. Polysepala because these are not petals, they are actual sepals. So many, many sepals. These guys here, once they start to turn green, you can get the seed pods out of them, and you can cook up those seed pods like they were popcorn. You can have them as like a green, like you can cook them up like peas. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, these guys are another water lover and also a water filter. So again, be careful where you're harvesting. Now, my apologies, the wind's picked up even more, but I have to show you a toxic lookalike to the Typholatifolia. This is the yellow flag iris. This is Iris pseudocora. And you'll see by the base of these guys, you see that they grow out in kind of like a fan formation coming from their rhizome. And whereas these guys actually grow concentrically around the base of the stalk on those. Now these guys are toxic to us. We must be careful. Both the flowers, the leaves, and the rhizome, the sap, they're all toxic to us. And you can see that they kind of grow in like a little ring here, almost like a fairy ring of these guys. And we just have to be very, very careful because they can look very much like the Typholatifolia. Here's the old turkey vulture. Cathartes aura. And the little dog hasn't spotted him yet because she would chase him off. She loves chasing these guys. They are the purifiers of the forest. They clean up any dead carrion and take care of all that. Cleaning it up, the garbage men of the forest, I guess, as you want to say. Of the world, actually. They're only up here for the summer. They take off down to Mexico or Brazil or somewhere down in southern North America or northern South America down there. They like the heat. I don't know how much closer we'll be able to get to them. I'm zoomed right in, so if I'm shaking, I apologize. So we're down in a beautiful alder grove down here, and we've come across some little oysterlings. Look at these little guys. Aren't they beauties? And they even left their natural little spore print. See that brown spore print there? That's pretty amazing. So the brown spore print kind of tells me that these might be the Crepidotus genus. Now here's the thing about the Crepidotus is we're probably not going to be able to get down much lower than the genus, maybe subgenus, because back in what 1940-ish, well mid 1900s anyways, they divided them up into 3 different subgenus. And I can't remember all the names, but Oeuf is one of the subgenus. And that particular subgenus, 50% of the Crepidotus fall into that category. Now you can see that these guys are somewhat hygrophanous here. You can see that his cap is changing color. And also, these guys are not quite sessile. They've got a very, very rudimentary kind of stipe to them. See how close the gills are together? Yeah. And also, they're very, very delicate. Look at that. It just barely touch them and they fall apart. And no gelatinous pellicle, so there's nothing covering this cap. So that tells me that this is most likely not the Calolepis, the Crepidotus calolepis or Crepidotus mollis. Those guys have a gelatinous pellicle on them, and they can get a little bit bigger than these guys. These guys only get to about 1.5 inches in size here. We got these guys down here a little bit bigger. But there are a couple of species that are possibles. So possible would be the Crepidotus aplanatus because of the size of these guys. Now there's another one that's even smaller that looks almost identical. That's Crepidotus lundellii. But these guys are just that much bigger. So I'm going to say that those guys are probably out. But the problem with the Crepidotus is that they were divided up due to their spores. So some were elliptical, some were elongated, some are spherical, some are globose. So they got little warty kind of things on them. So that broke up them into the different subgenus that they have today. And they've been doing a ton of DNA work on these guys. So there's going to be a whole lot of changes in the Crepidotus genus, I'd be thinking, and there's probably going to be new taxa added in and things like that. Now these guys are not classified as edible and possibly poisonous. So we want to stay away from these guys, and they could be mistaken for the actual oyster mushrooms if you don't know what you're looking for. Having the brown spore print tells you that they are not the regular oysters. So I'm going to take a wild guess at this one, and I'm going to say that it's possibly Crepidotus aplanatus, just due to the fact that these other macro features kind of eliminate the other ones out of the categories here. But yeah, they're just such a neat little thing, and they grow in these little kind of shelves all like that. But yeah, definitely no gelatinous pellicle on these guys, so can quite confidently, I think, take the mollusc group or the Calolepis group out of there, and these are probably going to be in the aplanatus group, but not positive on that. Like I said, I'm just taking a guess on the macro features, because a lot of them are distinguished from each other by some having clamp connections and the different spore types that they have. But just little sweeties, and they can hide. You know, in your back here, you can't really see them too much when they're under the undergrowth and everything. Very cool. But yeah, a lot of work going into the Crepidotus genus right now. So it's yet to be seen what's going to happen in that group. Yeah. Awesome. Carrying on, my friends. And if you're ever out walking in the forest and you see something that looks a little bluish, roll it over. You never know. There's nothing under this one because I've already rolled it. But this one, there's another whole story under this guy. Look at these beauties. These are the Chlorosaboria aruginacens. The elfin cap, the green elf cap. They got several different names. But yeah, these guys are really neat. And they start out white. And actually, I've seen the lab tests, and their mycelium does the same thing. They haven't made enough of this particular compound to give it that blue color. The name of the compound eludes me at the moment. And the mycelium is what stains this wood blue, and it goes through there. But they've found that these guys are actually semiconductors, believe it or not, or at least they have semiconductor qualities to them. And they've also got somewhat of photoluminescent qualities. They can use them on like labels and whatnot that are luminescent, like what you would find, say, on a plane or whatever. Yeah, it's absolute beauties. Beauty, beauty, beauties. Not edible. I mean, look at how tiny they are. Here's my finger beside one of these guys. Yeah, really cool. Yeah, woodworkers love this stuff, but we'll carry on. Roll him back over so he can keep on doing its thing. Well, the bait egg is gone. Here's a couple of pieces of the shell that's left over, so I think we've got our thief on camera, provided the camera was set up properly. Here's another little piece of shell down here. A little bit of a trail of them going this way, so I'm assuming that is the direction he headed with it. Either way, let's find out what's on the actual Bushcam. Wow, so the ravens were a bit of a surprise. I was not expecting that. As you all know, I was saying raccoons. That was my big suspect, but it makes sense because ravens can fly a long distance, and they are apparently renowned for taking eggs, just like the raccoons. Now, that doesn't mean that it was ravens that took the duck eggs. It could have been the raccoons as well. We'll have to wait until next season to find that out. But anyways, if you enjoyed what you saw, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe button. And until next time, my friends, take care now.